This is the new Jaguar F-Pace, and by new I mean facelifted. You see, Jaguar is going through its range at the moment, giving its cars new engines and revamped interiors that are made of nicer materials and crammed full of new tech. So what we're going to do today is go over all of the updates to this F-Pace and see whether it can now hold its own against the likes of the BMW X3 and Audi Q5. But before I get into the review, why not hit the like button and subscribe, because we've got plenty more awesome videos just like this one. Now let's start off with pricing. The new and improved F-Pace comes in at £41,000. That's for the base car that you see here. You can also get the R Dynamic, which makes it look a little bit sportier. Now that starts at £43,000, but if you want the full-fat 5-litre supercharged V8 SVR model, then you're going to be paying £77,000. But what I thought I'd do is I went on the YesAuto app to see what prices are like, and there are already plenty of deals on new and nearly new F-Paces. Those are 2021 cars, so it's not like you're going to have to pay full price if you don't want to. Admittedly, it's quite hard to tell the difference between a new F-Pace and an old one, because although this is a facelift, it's a very minor one indeed. So the big changes are a new, larger grille. This is the biggest SUV that you can currently buy in Jaguar's range, so that larger grille just kind of sets it apart from its baby sibling, the E-Pace. You also have a new LED head and tail light cluster. The front bumper is now a little bit more angular, and the same can be said for the rear bumper too. We've got 19-inch wheels here, but you can spec them all the way up to 21s. And that's about it really. But the F-Pace was already a very good looking car, so Jaguar thought, why not spend a little bit of money on updating the exterior and then the rest of it on improving the interior. The interior has been completely redesigned, and it's a huge improvement over the old car. In fact, it now feels like a much more luxurious product, and if anything, it now feels like it's worthy of the Jaguar name. For instance, the centre console is all new and now features a different shifter design, replacing the dial in the old car. The good thing is you can now rest your hand in it while driving along, a bit like you can in an Audi, though the cup holders can get in the way a little bit. The climate settings are now activated through touch controls, but changing the temperature, crucially, is done through good old-fashioned dials. That feeds air out of a revised vent system that now merges seamlessly with the new dashboard layout. And the overall build quality is a big step up from the old car with lots of leather, and this model comes with a very tasteful wood trim. The big improvement though comes with the tech, and it's all highlighted by this infotainment system. It's a kind of concaved screen that makes it look as though it's draped neatly over the dashboard. The 11.4-inch panel runs the company's new infotainment software, which not only looks stunning, but is one of the most responsive panels around. Even Apple CarPlay is really well optimised, taking up most of the available screen space. Our F-Pace S comes with a hybrid instrument panel with analog dials and a digital display in the middle. A full digital system is available, and you can check that out in our XF review by clicking the link in the top right-hand corner. All cars, though, are really well equipped, but there is the odd optional extra, and some of them are what I would consider core features, particularly for a car costing £40,000. Wireless charging, for instance, which we've got in this car, will set you back £300. Still, there's plenty of legroom in the back, and the same can also be said for headroom as well. And the boot measures in at 650 litres, which obliterates the competition. In fact, it's so big you could pretty much live in it. What's really impressive though is that this is one of the entry-level cars. It's the F-Pace S, which comes in at around £42,000. So if an entry-level car can feel like this, then you're not really going to feel too guilty spending £50,000 or even £60,000 further up the line. We've got a new lineup of engines, most of which come slightly electrified. Now, the range kicks off with 3 diesels, so 2 of them are based around a 2-litre motor available in either 161 or 202 brake horsepower form, and you also get a 3-litre producing 296 bhp. Now they all come with 48-volt mild hybrid systems, which ekes out a little bit more fuel and will give you a helpful boost when pulling away from a set of traffic lights. There are also two normal petrol engines, one of which is a 2-litre motor producing 247 bhp, and there's also a 3-litre straight 6 with 396 bhp, and that also gets mild hybrid tech as well. But the big addition under the bonnet though is the P400e plug-in hybrid. Now that's based around a 2-litre engine and is connected up to an electric motor, and combined they produce 400 brake horsepower. But you also get a 17.1 kilowatt-hour battery, meaning you can drive the PHEV on electric power alone for up to 33 miles. It's pretty quick too. It'll go from 0 to 62 miles an hour in 5.1 seconds. Now, if performance is your thing, then you'll want to go for the SVR, which comes with a 5-litre supercharged V8 engine producing 542 brake horsepower. Now, like the rest of the range, it gets an 8-speed automatic gearbox and all-wheel drive, meaning this thing goes from 0 to 62 miles per hour in 4 seconds dead. Well, not this one, this is the bog standard one, but you get the idea. There may be lots of updates under the bonnet and on the inside, but thankfully Jaguar hasn't touched the way the F-Pace drives, because like many of its cars, the F-Pace is fantastic behind the wheel. And that's for a multitude of reasons. The things that really stand out is the way that it steers. It's got kind of a sporty feel to it, which isn't to everybody's taste when it comes to an SUV, even though they're sports utility vehicles. But it just means that you have a really good idea of the kind of vehicle that you're driving. Because you've got a little bit of weight, it kind of makes you realise that you're driving a bigger car, but it also helps you place it on the road a little bit better. I'm not talking about getting the most out of a twisty B road. I just mean being able to drive the car with a lot of confidence. But that's coupled up with a really lovely and plush suspension system that means that, yes, the steering feels not necessarily sporty, but you can be assertive with it, but the rest of the car is relaxing. This is designed to be a family car. It's designed to go and do hundreds of miles in one sitting, and you can do it in perfect comfort, and it doesn't compromise the ride. But I think the thing that surprised me the most so far about this F-Pace is that we have the bog standard diesel engine in this, so we've only got 161 brake horsepower, but I don't feel like I need anything faster, really. The only time where I might have wanted a bit more of a shove is pulling onto a motorway of where there's a very, very short slip road. But it's a really punchy engine, and it's nice and frugal as well. It's the sad side about the demonisation of diesels, because you get great MPG, and also in the case of this Jaguar, the engine is super smooth, and it just kind of shows you where Jaguar has spent its money. Jaguar bet big on diesel, and that's why it's found the downfall of diesels so hard. You get in something like this, and it's a really magnificent engine. Of course, if you do want to future-proof yourself, there is now the plug-in hybrid. I've not driven it, but 33 miles of range on electric power alone is pretty damn good. You're probably going to get closer to 25, 26 miles in reality, but let's say you've got a 10-mile commute to work, you could go back and forth on electric power alone and only use the combustion engine for longer journeys. Now, at the moment, the big differentiator between the different F-Pace trim levels is the kind of semi-autonomous driving modes. So what we have kind of as standard, even though this is the mid-spec S car, is cruise control, and you also have an adaptive speed limiter and traffic sign recognition. So it knows if we're going from a 40 into a 30, it'll give me a little readout on the dashboard to tell me so. There is a lane keep assistance as well, but I find that it rarely cuts in when you need it to. You could quite easily drift over the white lines and it won't put you back in your lane. And you also have a collision warning system too. It's really hard to actually think of things I'm not a big fan of when it comes to the way the F-Pace drives. I guess the gearbox can be a little bit confused at times. I think also the build quality could be a little bit nicer. The cabin now looks like it can rival German cars, but the build quality just isn't quite there yet, needs tightening up a little bit. But other than that, there's a lot to love about the F-Pace. It looks great, it's quiet with this diesel on board, you can get a hybrid if you want, and best of all, it's actually really enjoyable to drive. Not only does this F-Pace feel like a giant leap forward compared to the pre-facelift car, but it actually feels like a bit of a bargain, because although its rivals feel like they're put together a little bit better, the F-Pace feels more luxurious and it's a lot of fun to drive. So be sure to go head over to YesAuto.co.uk to see if you can pick yourself up a deal on a new or nearly new Jaguar F-Pace.